It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports,
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning. So we love Extraco.
With Ease US, make studio-quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional-grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator. The You Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. You like.
And then Peter Sousa. He had a quick story to tell you about these guys.
Fired up with that, right? The Pete Sousa Show, we're coming to you live. We are excited today. Legit, we got a big show. We got a lot of people. Like, that's a big show. We got Jake Hatch. We're talking BYU and Big 12 football. Take a quick trip out to Salt Lake City to talk to my man Hatch. That's probably in about 15 minutes. We're going to talk with Dan Ingham. We're going to take it to the bank with Dan. Is Dan 0-3, Scotty? Is Dan 0-3? He's so that could be like a running joke all year. Because we're supposed to be taking it to the bank with that guy. But, I mean, I don't know, right? We got to work on that.
I'm going to tell him this segment, we could call it Take It to the Bank instead of putting it into a bet that Dan tells you right now. Put it in a savings account at First National Bank instead of betting it on this pick.
I think that's a pretty good call, dude. Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovaceks. Of course, we do want to thank First National Bank of Central Texas, Socorro Family Ford, Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, of course. Christy got Kate in a car last night, which is exciting. Everybody's excited about that. He's not 16 yet, but being from Philadelphia, it's different here. I mean, it's all in Texas. It's almost like a rite of passage to get a car. I feel like, especially if you grew up like where Christy and her family grew up. There's a bunch of them that grew up like in Lindsay, Texas, on like a farm, and I guess you guys are always driving around here in Texas, like from Jump Street. I mean, I was kind of special to begin with, so nobody was looking for me to be hitting the roads. anytime soon when I turned 16. I was like, my parents were like, whoa. There was not one of those things like, let's get this guy down to the DMV to get him a license. It's like, let's just keep him in school. How about that? And keep him on the straight and narrow. And then Pat Williamson got his license. He was one of my best friends. So that kind of took care of that. Yeah, so good for Caden, man. Caden's got a car. We're going to keep our eyes on him though. That's for sure. Looking forward to this weekend of college football. We've got our friend Alyssa we got an Oklahoma State undergrad. We're going to spend about 10 minutes with her. And we're going to chat with her a little bit about what Baylor is up against this weekend with Oklahoma State, and also like what the vibe is around the student body. Like how do Oklahoma State students respond to a move like this? Something as critical and something as seismic as a legendary coach like Mike Gundy stepping aside. I mean, is it one of those things where are they so young they don't even know or they don't even care? Or is there sentiment around the university, like an understanding of how important this is? And that brings me to my first topic. I watched the ESPN documentary last night, The Many Lives of Lane Kiffin. I am a documentary guy. I just love it. And this documentary, okay, a couple thoughts off the top. First of all, Ryan McGee was like the voice of the documentary, right? He is amazing. He's cool. I met him a couple times when I was spotting for Philpott. He's a cool dude, and he's very humble, and he's just so likable. And you could tell he has a connection with Lane Kiffin, or Lane Kiffin thinks he's cool or something. Because I don't, this has been something that has been, Lane Kiffin's been a mystery to me since 2007. I mean, I had obviously working around sports and working around the NFL. Monty Kiffin was a legend, right? Like he was basically the architect of that Tampa 2 defense, that cover 2, and he had those amazing athletes, right? Like Rondé Barber, Derek Brooks. I mean, they were just Warren Sapp, right? Everywhere you turn, there was another amazing Tampa Bay Buccaneer making a big play. And Monty Kiffin took great advantage of those tools and won a Super Bowl with John Gruden. And his defense was always amazing every year. So his son Lane obviously comes along, and he is this like a wonder kind. Like at 32, I think he gets the job as the Raiders, youngest football coach in NFL history since the merger. Immediately, it goes kind of sideways with Al Davis because one, and I read this in Parcells' book when Bill Parcells is talking about Sean Payton. Sean Payton was offered the Raiders job. Different circumstance. Maybe it was the same year. It could have been the same coaching like turnover cycle. But Bill Parcells talked to Sean Payton. He was like, "That's just not a good job right now, dude. You can't take that job. Like there's not enough talent there." Al is kind of, he's definitely somebody who a veteran coach would have to adjust to. A young rookie coach, it could be really tough. Monty Kiffin says the same thing to Lane about the Raiders job, but Lane is like, dude, I'm taking this job, man. It's the Raiders. I mean, dude, I 1,000% understand that. Like when Lane Kiffin is talking, I'm just like nodding my head, like, yeah, of course. And he takes the job, and that begins a cycle of, he becomes this coaching nomad. And this documentary did a wonderful job of one, Lane Kiffin, and it reminds me, he was a young punk, right? Like in the best way possible, in a football sense. Like when you look at his work as a coach, it's undeniable that he is absolutely brilliant. When he took over USC, they had just been hit with sanctions that, limited like took away 30 scholarships, no bowl appearances. He still finished 10-2 in 2011. And then in 2012, they start the season ranked number 1 in the country in the midst of this, on the back end, by the way, of scandal. Lane wasn't involved in scandal. Now he was at Tennessee doing a good job there. And that is a situation where he left under the cover of night pretty much. He tried to do a press conference when he took the USC job after just 1 year at Tennessee, and he did the best he could at the time, but he grossly underestimated the passion of Tennessee fans. After he makes this resignation, there's like a witch hunt for him outside. And it's clear, like Lane Kiffin was like, we left Tennessee and we never came back. And he was like, that broke my heart because I had an amazing time there. I had an amazing year there. I loved it there. I loved the people there. But this USC job was one that I couldn't deny. Now, to me, this really was, I do not sit there watching this in judgment of Lane Kiffin. I sit there watching it thinking, man, to be that young and to have so many options, that is a difficult road to hoe. Like when you're in your early 30s and the Oakland Raiders, I think they were Oakland. Yeah, they were the Oakland Raiders at the time. They're offering you their head coaching job. And remember, this was a Raiders team that as recently as 2002 had played in the Super Bowl. They were still very competitive. 2004, 2005, they dip, right? And then they're looking for a new head coach, and Lane's the guy. This was not the Raiders organization we're talking about now that has had, that one playoff appearance, that a wild card loss to the Bengals in 2021, like that we're looking back in the rear view, like, man, it's been a rough go for the Raiders. Like, no, this was, you're still waving the flag, playing autumn wind, feeling pretty good about Al and the Raiders when you take that job probably. But it was a bad move. He paid for it. And ultimately, the documentary illustrates how when you are young and you get so much opportunity, whether you're a lottery pick in the NBA, whether you're a superstar actor, whether you're a rising star in the coaching industry, whether you're a 28-year-old guy on Wall Street who hits it big, right? I just don't think, and Christy always takes me to task for this, that I give people too much grace, right? But I can only go by my own story. I was not ready for any kind of success. I mean, prior to my 30s, really. And it's documented. I don't think that I'm a little different because of stuff in my background and whatnot, but I think that we're all the same in a sense that you have to experience things and go through them before you're actually really ready for them, if that makes any sense. And it's rare that someone gets that anointment so early and deals with it so swimmingly. And the point of Lane Kiffin, this whole documentary, which you got to watch it. I'm not spoiling it for you because there's so many details. In my opinion, by the way, this could have been an 8-episode documentary. I mean, they could have done a whole episode on when he was a quarterback at Fresno State. They could have done a whole episode on when he was at USC with Pete Carroll. And him and Sark were like the big assistant coaches. They could have done a whole episode on Oakland. You get the idea. Tennessee, Florida Atlantic, Nick Saban when he goes to be an assistant coach for Saban. But the ultimate message here that I received was, and Lane Kiffin basically says it, like, in life, dude, you cannot run from things. And that's what Lane Kiffin mentioned. Like, you have to dig in there. And when stuff sucks, you just got to hang in there because it's going to suck. Like, that is life. It's like David Pollack talked to us yesterday about, he said, and David's on the younger side. I mean, he's been at it for a minute now. But, he said, I have learned in life, it is not it's not what happens to me, it's how I react. And that's what Kiffin said. And at the end of this, of course, and you guys know my story if you watch this, sober a pretty long time. Lane Kiffin is open about he stopped drinking when he got to Mississippi. And, could you imagine? Everything kind of came together, right? Like, and I'm not saying that, and I don't think that Lane was like a fall down drunk, but he definitely was like, he said, I was using alcohol to escape, right? And I was doing it all the time. And so he stopped drinking and his whole life starts to come together and there's this cohesion and his whole family comes back together. And, last year or 2 years ago, when the Auburn job opens up, he's the number one guy. But at this point now, he's matured and his family is in Oxford. His daughter has moved from California back to Oxford, Mississippi to go to high school there and then to commit to go to Ole Miss. And all of a sudden, like, he gets the Auburn job and he's like, wait, I can't take this job. I am now thinking about people other than myself. And by thinking about people other than himself, he has achieved, I think, the greatest heights of success he has in coaching. And I'm talking on the field, his work at Ole Miss, right? Like, the numbers he's put together over the past 3 or 4 seasons are it's the best stretch that Ole Miss has had since the 60s or 50s or 60s. Like, it's legit, and he's doing it in the SEC. And it's just another reminder, like, we have all these grand ideas when we're young and all these ambitions, like I did, like you might right now. But like, life will throw haymakers at you. And honestly, if you're dialed in, right, and you're doing the right things, thinking about other people, thinking about your family, the right doors will open. But at the time, like, you don't know it. Like Lane Kiffin, he is very open about, I left Alabama as an assistant, and then I go to FIU, and I got to FIU, and I'm like, damn, like, I really, this is a guy who's accustomed from going from blue blood program to blue blood NFL organization. Like, this is different. But he understood it. He hunkered down. And 2 things, man. You got to live life on life's terms. That's what I pulled from that. And Lane Kiffin is a goddamn genius of a coach. And that's what I got from that. And he was a punk. He was arrogant. He rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And if I had been able to achieve that, like anywhere near that success as his age, as I rose up the ranks. And it's one thing too, when you're a head football coach, because your tentacles hit so many different people. Like, if you rise up the ranks as a big time comedian, like, you perform and you do a great job and you have your team, and I'm sure there's a payroll there. But at the end of the day, like, you're not in charge or responsible for hundreds of young men. And ultimately, you answer to their families. That's a hell of a tough job, man. I used to think about my coach in college, Coach Reed, because he would kind of tell us, like, when I go to bed at night, I got like 115, 120 guys I'm thinking about. Like, where are they? What are they doing? Because he really cared. So there's just so much that goes into head coaching, and I just think it is such a maturation process. And it was cool to see Lane Kiffin last night. Seems like he's in a great place. And the last thing I'll say is he kind of challenged me. Every morning, and I love when people are like this. I don't know if this is a phase in his life. It could be. In 10 years, he could be doing a different documentary where he's got a big beer belly and he's off the wagon, and who knows, right? But every morning right now, he does hot yoga. Every morning, non-negotiable, he said. And I'm like, damn, I need to do something like that. All right, the Pete Sousa Show. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. Conversation we recorded late yesterday with the great Jake Hatch. Jake with Locked On Cougs. He brings the Big 12 information, brings the BYU information, and it's an opportunity for us to talk about what I think is one of the sneakiest matchups on the college football schedule this weekend. And I think it's going to be a huge, as far as eyeballs are concerned, right? Colorado and BYU in Boulder. 10 o'clock Eastern time, 25th ranked BYU against the Colorado team. Of course, we know the fireworks are always ready to go off there, but will they, right? We'll find out. We'll also find out exactly what Hatch has to say after this break. The Pete Sousa Show is presented by Slovacics.
Bubble allows you to make it real and for it to actually work. So I feel like Bubble bridges that gap and being able to give people the opportunity to make their ideas come to life really quickly too. I love that I can sit down and build something the way that I think it should be built and have the control over it.
Bubble turns ideas into fully scalable apps. Try Bubble today.
Hi, I'm Jo from Face Theory. You're going to want to have a specific goal for your skincare routine. What do you want to achieve? Active ingredients are really strong, and if you're using too many at once, your skin can get overwhelmed. Don't overspend on products. Choose products that have scientific research behind them. At Face Theory, if you're not happy with a product, just say so, just give us a shout and we'll give you your money back, no problem.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Streamline event and appointment booking with Amelia's sleek, modern, and fully customizable booking forms. Tailor the colors, fonts, and design to match your brand and seamlessly integrate with your WordPress website. Whether it's for events or appointments, Amelia makes booking simple, stylish, and perfectly aligned with your business. Enhance your booking experience today at WPAmelia.com. That's WPAMELIA.com. Amelia.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
BadCreditLoans.com is a pioneering service provider that has carved a reputation in the financial industry for its dedication to helping individuals with bad credit secure loans. By making timely repayments, borrowers can gradually repair their credit history, thereby increasing their chances of securing better loan terms in the future. BadCreditLoans.com serves as a beacon of hope for those with bad credit. Simple, fast, and reliable loan application process. And its commitment to responsible borrowing makes it a trusted partner in the journey towards financial stability.
Cats, we're talking BYU, Locked On Cougs. What's happening, Jake?
Oh, not a lot. Thanks for having me, Pete. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm excited because the game on Saturday night, Colorado against 25th ranked BYU, I've had circled for some time. And there was a point in time where I thought, maybe this won't be too exciting. You know, maybe I'm not quite sure. But it's lived up to the hype now as far as I can't wait to see it. What has your assessment been so far of a BYU team when we started the season where there were a lot more questions than answers?
Well, they've answered a lot of the questions we had about this team, particularly at quarterback. Bear Bachmeier has been nothing short of incredible, considering he's a true freshman starting for the BYU football program, but they've really run the ball extremely well. LJ Martin is off to an extremely bright start this season, and so long as I think those two keep doing their thing and the offense kind of just keeps doing what it's been doing, running the football, and obviously play action off of that, allowing Bear Bachmeier to have pretty easy reads, that life's good. And the defense, not to discount them, they've been just absolutely lights out, letting an average of 5.3 points per game so far. It's pretty darn elite.
When you talk about BYU, they're under the radar right now, even ranked 25th. And I feel like Saturday could be a coming out party for BYU on a national stage. Bear Bachmeier, too, I think is due his coming out party. What about his game as a freshman has allowed him to rise to the occasion so far and has set him up for success on Saturday night?
It's the fact that he's extremely smart. Aaron Roderick said it earlier this week that on the final touchdown, I should say, that LJ Martin ran for a touchdown against East Carolina. They went into that play. Aaron Roderick gave him 3 options. He said, "I've never done it with a freshman quarterback." Giving him 3 options to check for. Between him and LJ, they said they checked to the right play, and LJ was off to the races for a 41-yard touchdown. And he said that shows how smart this kid is. He's 3 games into his college career, and it looks like he is capable of handling a lot more than I think even BYU's own coaches thought he was capable of coming in as a true freshman. And he's been, like I said, nothing short of absolutely remarkable because he's been very good. He hasn't turned the ball over at all. No fumbles, no interceptions. He had his career high in passing yards. And I thought that second half against East Carolina really showed that the future is extremely bright for that young man.
Well, what have you heard about him and his game that, off the field? Like what makes him special? Is it like film study? Is he like a natural born leader? Obviously we had talked about this before. He's extremely bright and has the build for it. But what are like the things that people don't see that he's doing?
Well, he's from a football family. The Bachmeier's older brother, Hank, obviously was a longtime quarterback at 3 different programs. Tiger, his other brother, is currently in the program at BYU. Their younger brother, funny enough, his actual name is Buck, but they call him Cougar. So apparently he's a quarterback right now down in Southern California. So this is a football family. You can tell he just eats, sleeps, and lives ball. And that is a really cool thing to think about. And as I understand it, he picks up concepts very quickly. He learned BYU's playbook in no time flat. He showed up in Provo in late June, and by the time they kicked off training camp in late July, he had the playbook down. So this is a very bright young man who apparently has got a very, very strong ability to consume mass quantities of information like a quarterback has to, is able to digest all of that. And obviously it's translating to his play on the field.
Well, from one football family to another, I know you've been going to BYU games since you were knee-high to a grasshopper with your grandfather. Some of that great content you share on Locked On is so appreciated. But what has you, somebody who has seen this team play for so long, pleased about this BYU team that people aren't talking about enough?
I think it's the fact that Kalani likes to call it complementary football. We've got the offense setting up the defense, and obviously the defense is doing its thing, holding down opponents, allowing the offense to go out and do that. But the special teams is getting overlooked right now. We have a kicker right now at BYU in Will Farron, who's, I think it's 24 or 25 straight made field goals. And he is going to go down as one of the all-timers, if not the all-time GOAT at kicker. And this is a program that's had some pretty good kickers in its history. They had the Payne brothers, the Pochman brothers, for any of the Cougar fans who remember those families in terms of their kicking legacies at BYU. But Will Farron's been lights out. And then Sam Vanderhaar, he's come into his own as a punter. And they've got a really, really special teams unit. I know that's an oxymoron to probably use that term, but it's cool to see the 3 different phases all complementing one another. And it's a big reason why they went 11-2 last year. And it looks like it's very much trending that way this year as well.
You're talking to an ADHD kid with dyslexia. Special teams is right in my wheelhouse, pal. So keep it coming. I want to talk a little bit about the identity of this team. Coach Satake has always talked about, being physical, right? And he's preached culture, right? What is the identity of this BYU team this year? Is it different from last year, or has it carried over? Because last year's team, they experienced great success as well. There's been changes, but Kalani Sitake is the mainstay, and there also are a bunch of guys back, and you mentioned a couple of them. That's why this team is ranked 25th, right, and is a prominent squad again in college football. But what is the identity, and also what's the difference from last year?
So I think the identity from last year to this year has kind of stayed the same. And it's a physical brand of football. That's the one thing that Kalani, they want to leave their imprint on their opponents, and I can tell you their opponents have felt BYU in their games this year. It was much like they did last year. The biggest difference so far this year, it feels like to me, is this is a team that's kind of coalesced around itself. I think they understand that we have a freshman quarterback, and while the level of competition may not have been top tier yet, there are going to be inevitable struggles that he will face as they go up against better teams. This week, Colorado, on paper, has got the most talent top to bottom that BYU's faced this season. I got no problem saying that. So I think they've coalesced around each other, understanding, okay, the sum total of our parts is going to have to be the difference for us. We have a young quarterback. He's probably going to throw an interception at some point or have a fumble at some point. We've got to be able to withstand that by being better as an overall team. Well, they've lost guys in the offseason, Jake Retzloff, Keelan Marion, Darius Lass. So you can go down the list of the guys that they lost. They've replaced them with a lot of guys who have a lot of talent, but more importantly than that, they've come in and bought into the team concept. And in this day and age of college football, that's harder and harder to come by because with NIL and everything in the mix, when money talks, things change. But to BYU's credit, they have really been a team united around one another.
Now, you mentioned team, but you've also had some outstanding playmakers defensively. I think it was who won the Walter? There was a huge national award. It's escaping me.
Evan Johnson. He had the
Evan Johnson won the Thorpe Award, D-back of the week nationally.
Yes, he's considered to be the first player in BYU football history. The records are incomplete, obviously. He's going back 100 years. But he's the first player that they think in BYU football history who had interceptions on back-to-back plays. One of them, he obviously stopped a what could have been a touchdown drive for East Carolina. And then the very next play from scrimmage for ECU on offense, a pick six. Pretty elite stuff. He had 6 tackles. And Evan, I don't know how much you know of his story, Pete Sousa. He is from Monterey, California, like a stone's throw away from Pebble Beach. Not a recruiting hotbed by any means. Played offense his entire life. BYU was his only Power 4 offer. They brought him in and said, hey, I know you like to play offense. You're going to be a cornerback for us. And it's taken 2 or 3 years to get him up to speed, but he sure looks like a pretty elite cover corner at this point.
And cover corners are the key, right, to a great aggressive defense. You know, Jay Hill likes to dial that up from time to time. Who are the other playmakers on the defensive unit that you weren't expecting to be like an Evan Johnson, right? Somebody who took a minute to develop or pop.
So Keanu Tanavasa took a lot of the headlines with his transfer from Utah to BYU at defensive tackle, but it's actually John Taumoepeau, who I think has really shined. He wears the number 55 for anybody who's looking out for him out there. He is a former defensive end who's moved inside and bulked up to play defensive tackle, and he's been a playmaker so far this year. I've been really impressed with his play. He shows a lot of energy. He's proven to be more than durable and capable on the interior, holding up against the run. I've been really impressed with him. And then also Falatau Satuala at safety. Had a breakout performance against Stanford. He's a former 4-star prospect, top 150 guy in the country that BYU's been waiting on to really kind of emerge. And he did it against Stanford. And the nice part is that adds to overall talent, to the overall talent base that BYU likes to boast. So I think those are 2 guys to keep an eye on because I think they've really had early strong performances this year.
Let's drill down on this game in Colorado. In Boulder, Saturday night will be a wild atmosphere. You know, BYU kids will be smelling stuff for the first time they've never smelled before, right? I mean, as according to Coach Prime. You know, what are you expecting from BYU in that game that could enable them to get this signature win early in the season on the road?
Run the football. I've been doing some research on this game, and Colorado has played 2 Power 4 opponents so far this year, that being Georgia Tech and Houston, Pete. And in those games, they've given up north of 260 yards on average. BYU, conversely, through the first 3 games of the year, has run for an average of 265.7 yards per game. I fully expect LJ Martin, Sione Moa, that backfield tandem, alongside Bear Bachmeier, to be thinking, all right, we're going to jam this ball down their throat. And then in the case of Bear, he's like, all right, then we're going to go play action. I'm going to dissect them down the field. I absolutely expect BYU to run the ball, run it very strongly against a porous run defense. I think it's 123rd in the country is what Colorado's rush defense is currently rating amongst the 130 plus teams we have in FBS football. So it sure looks like BYU is going to have apparently a strong running game going into this matchup. And that's absolutely what they should be relying on.
Is that the recipe, in your opinion, for success for BYU this year? Take a little pressure off the freshman Bear Bachmeier, run the football. LJ Martin, you mentioned it, his numbers atop the Big 12 right now rushing. Is that the way that BYU is going to compete for a championship in the Big 12 and a college football playoff appearance?
Absolutely. Look at what Arizona State did last year. They had an unproven quarterback in Sam Levitt with a very strong running game led by Cam Scadaboo. What did they do? They ran the ball down everybody's throat, and then they just allowed Sam Levitt to dissect teams on play action. It's exactly what BYU is doing right now. LJ Martin, Sione Moa, they're a steamrolling an opponent, and then all of a sudden when they feel like they got to suck up 8 or 9 guys into the box, what do? Well, you send 3 guys down the field, and you find one of them for a touchdown. That's exactly the formula for success with a young quarterback. And I'm not saying that BYU stole a page out of Arizona State's book, but it's very much that same method to the madness.
Let's look across the state real quick at Utah. And I'm just curious to get your opinion on this. We were talking about this before we taped Inside the 12 this morning. The Big 12 show, you can see it on True TV and the Big 12's YouTube channel. But I was curious that Kyle Whittingham and the Devin Dampier injury situation. People are talking about are they playing games over there with the injury situation? Because you can't walk into a press conference after a game and say, well, he was hurt. And I'm thinking was he hurt during the game? No, he was hurt going in. What are people talking about? That seems a little suspect.
Well, and that's the thing about this. The conversation, he actually didn't raise it until Monday. So it kind of looks like you're using it as a crutch or an excuse as to why you lost said football game. But to your point, Pete, the injured player availability reports are there to put guys like Devin Dampier on it. Because as Kyle Whittingham detailed in his own words, he got injured in the Wyoming game, didn't practice Tuesday or Wednesday, practiced partially on Thursday, but was, as he said, quote, never in doubt of playing on Saturday. Guess what? player availability reports are out there for you to put him as probable and then update it on Saturday to say he's playing in the game. It's caused all kinds of consternation. Utah and Kyle Whitting had to put out a statement saying that we've talked with the conference office about our reporting procedures moving forward. I think they got their hands slapped. And Kyle is the one who's always willing to play games because he said it before the season. He kind of laid the groundwork for this, Pete. Remember, when the player availability reports became a thing, he said, well, I may counter by not releasing a depth chart. Well, that's exactly what Utah did. They don't put out depth charts anymore. So he wants to essentially fight against the system, so be it. But it's a bad look, I think, for the Utes.
When you're not putting out depth charts, and this may be a stupid question, but I'm going to ask it anyways because I can be stupid at times. Is that more for just to screw the opposing coaches or the media? Because opposing coaches have tape, and I don't,
No, you can put together. Here's the thing. I cover Utah, obviously, in my sports radio capacities, in addition to doing it with Locked On Cougars. I think that I could sit down and put together a depth chart that's probably, just off the top of my head, 60 to 65% accurate, just literally off the top of my head. Now, if you let me watch 2 or 3 or 4 games like Utah's played so far, I can put together a depth chart that's probably 90 to 95% accurate. So it's not a super high advantage. It's Kyle Whittingham just wanting to have some modicum of control and being able to tell people, no, I'm the captain now, and being able to control the narrative.
Dude, you always control the narrative. Locked On Cougs, baby. Check him out, Jake Hatch. Jake, anything you need from me, I'm here for you. I really appreciate you taking the time, dude. It's always fun catching up.
Thanks, Pete.
With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Designed to elevate the off-road experience, enabling adventurers to conquer any terrain. For 50 years, you've trusted us on your toughest recoveries, to your most breathtaking destinations, and in countless unforgettable memories.
We offer fast shipping, exceptional customer support, and furniture solutions that stand up to high-traffic environment. Elevate your space with BizChair's vast selection of stylish, reliable, and cost-effective furniture. Visit us today at bizchair.com to transform your business.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
VivoSun's mission is to empower growers with stylish and effective products, making indoor growing accessible and enjoyable for everyone. Visit vivosun.com today and get started making growing plants and vegetables easy and automatic.
WhyPersonalLoans.com. Request a loan anytime. Our partners can offer loans up to $35,000 with varying rates and terms. Review your loan offer with no obligation and decide what works for you. Visit PersonalLoans.com today.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
Is your Mac running slow? Mac Booster 8 is your all-in-one solution to clean up 20 types of junk files. Get your Mac running like new again with Mac Booster 8. Visit macboost.net today.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
I am obsessed with helping business owners increase their traffic and turn it into profit through the power of Pinterest marketing. It's this amazing platform where people are looking for ideas, inspiration. They have a problem and they're actively looking for a solution.
Stability.
It is the Pete Sousa Show. Of course, everybody, not everybody, but folks around Central Texas and in Stillwater are fired up for Saturday's game. We're talking Oklahoma State and Baylor, so we're going to Stillwater. We're going to chat with Alyssa Brandon right now. There she is.
Hi.
How's it
How
going?
are y'all doing?
We're doing great. So I'm so pumped to have you with us today. I know you are sort of like at ground zero there in Stillwater right now. And I'm curious, like what has the vibe been around campus and around that football program right now, Alyssa?
The vibe has been purely chaos for me, especially in the past 48 hours. But for everyone around campus, I've seen people in tears. I've seen people cheering. I've seen everything in between. I think everyone is it's just the timing of how this went down that I think people are a little bit confused about. I mean, it happened on a Tuesday off of that Tulsa loss when a lot of people thought maybe it should have happened on that Monday. We were told players found out via social media. They didn't find out via Mike Gundy being able to tell them. Mike Gundy wasn't given a press conference or anything. And this just all came out sort of I mean, we obviously all were waiting for it, but we didn't expect this on a Tuesday afternoon. And now it's just some people are mourning, some people are upset at the higher ups, and some people are like, hey, let's get this guy out of here. I'm ready for the next guy. So it's been chaotic to say the least.
Well, thank you for taking a little time, carving it out of your schedule, because I'm sure it is crazy. Have you heard what players are saying? Like, because now it's like, transfer portal opens up for them, I guess, right? Like after their head coach who brought them in gets let go. What's the situation there as far as like a migration or people staying? What are you hearing?
Yeah, so I haven't heard anything from a player directly yet, but we've already had 5 players that are incoming commitments that are deciding to decommit, which is a huge thing. One of them is Katie Jones, which was going to be a 4-star running back prospect for us. So that's huge, and he's been really associated with Kenyatta Wright, who's our head of football business here at Oklahoma State. So that was really shocking. Directly from the players and themselves, we've seen on Twitter that they've been very empathetic, very like wanting to give Gundy credit, wanting to say their piece and posting about how much the coach meant to them. So we haven't heard anything just yet about who may be departing, but it looks like that could be an opportunity. The problem is that a lot of these guys, I mean, close to 55 to 60% of this roster is new guys. And so this is their first year they're here, and they came here for Mike Gundy. And so we are anticipating, and Chad Weiberg talked about it, Chad Weiberg, the athletic director, anticipating a kind of an exodus, unfortunately. So.
Yeah, great stuff, man. This is really good intel. I appreciate it. So when you think about going forward, what if any scuttlebutt about who, let's say, alumni would want to come in, who students are looking at? Because a lot of times, you're what are you, a senior now or a junior?
I'm a junior. Yes, sir.
So you're a junior. By the way, you seem like a media veteran, so props to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. We have a great program and so
clearly you're a product of that. But, I think sometimes we overlook the student body and where they're at, right? Because, I haven't called a game at Oklahoma State before. It's really special there. Even the game on Friday night against Tulsa, it was still packed and there was a vibe, if things had been different, the response from the fans certainly would have been different because it was a sellout again. But what's the student body saying? And also, what are other folks around the program? You mentioned Chad Weiberg. Like, what direction does this school, this program want to go and need to go in?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the vibe for the student body I was in the stands on Friday. We just gotten off a pregame show. And I mean, it was like second or third or fourth drive. And we're hearing fire Gundy, like obvious chants over and over and over. And so from the student body, at least, it's been clear that they wanted Gundy out. And a lot of that I feel has to do with, I mean, they haven't been here. A lot of us haven't been here for all the tradition. Mike Gundy got his job before some of us were even born. I mean, seniors in high school weren't born before he got his job. So they don't, not a lot of us, I think, have the appreciation for the tradition that some of the alumni do. I think for a lot of alumni, they're half of them, I think it's split, but I think a lot of them are focused on the next direction that we can take this in, and focusing on getting a guy in here that wants to operate a college football team in this new era, in the NIL era, and wants to encourage donors, wants to create opportunities for funding to come in. And unfortunately, that's just not something. Mike Gundy did start doing a little bit of it in his last year or two here, but that's not something that he was doing at all. He was not the fundraising guy. That's never been who he has been. He tried to put QR codes on helmets last year, and that got shot down immediately, and then he kind of quit after that. But I think the Board of Regents that we have here, and then just the alumni, I think we're really searching. My feel is that they really want a younger guy in here to come and take over and know how to operate in the NIL era.
Oh, being around the press availabilities and the practices and the games, now you turn the page, you have Doug Meacham coming in, taking over. What does it look like going forward on the field? Like, it's always weird to see Baylor playing at Oklahoma State as a 20-plus point favorite. It's not always weird. It's very, very weird. Like,
yes.
How are we moving forward on the field there?
Yeah, absolutely. Doug Meacham met with people yesterday, and a lot of the question was about what is this offense going to look like, and is it going to be different? And I think that is really what we're going to see on Saturday, because the problem that a lot of people are speculating is that Doug Meacham hasn't been able to show his offense because it was under Mike Gundy's thumb. And so people are kind of anticipating and speculating that Doug Meacham wants to shake things up offensively. Pounding the ball, running the ball has been something that Gundy has really enforced. And I think my prediction is that we could see more of an air raid type offense here. And I think that's something that Doug Meacham wants to incorporate. So the problem with that is that we just have a quarterback that hasn't started very many games. This will be his first game starting in a Big 12 game. So he just doesn't, it's just, maybe we don't have the facilities to be able to accomplish that. But I do think on the field, at least, we're going to see, I think he's going to throw the kitchen sink at it. I hope he does. I hope we see a lot of crazy things offensively. And if to keep up with Baylor, we're going to have to. I mean, Sawyer Robertson, I know, is probably going to go out there and throw 3 or 4 touchdowns, and we need to be able to compete with that. And Zane Flores doesn't even have a passing touchdown under his belt yet. So
what is one question, and this is something I probably should know, but I don't. What is Hoss Haney expected to come back anytime soon? He is, right? Like a week or two. Is that right?
Yeah, you got me all fired up there, because Doug Meacham just told us yesterday, and this is the first time we've really heard a timeline, that it's going to be probably in the next few weeks, is what his words were. At the time when Haney went down, a lot of people were saying our homecoming game, which would be Cincinnati, I believe it's October 18th. But now with him saying a few weeks, which is obviously a very vague term, but hopefully maybe in the next 2 or 3 games. We have a Houston game coming up in 2 weeks, I believe. He did say that Hoss Haney is going to be, I guess he hasn't been walking yet. Hoss Haney is starting walking this week normally on his own, which is a little odd to me. But so yeah, he just told us yesterday that probably in the next few weeks. So I think we're all really excited. It seems like the plan is once he is healthy and once they feel like he's in a good position to put him back out there.
What do you think Zane Flores does for this team in a positive light? I mean, is he able to manage what would become maybe more of a pass-happy offense, or do you feel like Oklahoma State is kind of handcuffed and can't move to that air raid attack in the midst of having someone that might not be prepared to operate it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of what we've heard from players is a lot of them talked to Josh Ford, tight end, over the summer, really impressed with his accuracy as a passer. And that's something that people weren't necessarily saying about Hoss Haney. And so we've seen that a little bit. I've seen him throw some balls in tight windows, but I've also seen him throw 2 pick sixes against Oregon. So I think a lot of that has to do with just his the amount of reps he's getting, the comfortability he's getting. So yeah, he's more of that pocket passer, and I think if he's given the chance to run this whole season through, maybe he does develop into that guy that a lot of the players say that he is, the really accurate guy. Unfortunately, my sense is that he might have that opportunity taken away from him once Haney gets back healthy.
Yeah.
So it'll be important for him to show that he can be an accurate passer in this Baylor game for sure.
Yeah, and as far as the rest of the season is concerned, is there optimism at all, like with this fresh start? With Coach Meacham, is there a thought process? Hey, we could get on a little run here. Like, is there a rejuvenation? I know you mentioned it, right? There has been some mourning and some relief, I'm sure. But is there any sense of rejuvenation? Like, okay, let's turn the page now. We're going to come out at home on Saturday against obviously a very worthy Baylor opponent. Let's see what we can do, right? Is there any kind of excitement around that?
I think there totally is. And I think from the players, they're eager to get out there and show what they have, even if it's because they need to put some film on tape to move on to the next level. But I think they're eager. There's been a lot of disdain kind of between this fan base and the players, not directly, but just with the media and everything. And I think the players are eager to show us, to prove us wrong, and to go out there and put some good games on the field, and whether that means to build their resume for the next year that they're here in Stillwater or to move on to the next. I mean, Meacham said that they're going to fight, and he said he's told the players that. He said he's seen good body language from all the players that are excited. He said none of them they had practice yesterday. It seemed normal to him. He said none of them looked super discouraged. They were all putting in the work just as usual. So I think they're ready to fight, and I think we might see more fight than we did in the first 3 weeks from Oklahoma State.
That's a really good point. Like almost like the dark cloud that started to follow around Mike Gundy ultimately follows his team around. So you're giving me the sense that some of those guys are frustrated with the fan base because you're going in at halftime and there's a chorus of boos, and they may be directed at the coach, but they're showering you as well as a player. So did you get that vibe, like even post game after Tulsa or pre-game, like folks are like you said, like there's a chip on these guys' shoulder now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I was having a hard time just watching all the students boo our players after they left the field. I mean, I think they're doing the best. They're trying to do the best with what they have. As far as post-game conversations, I saw Zane Flores post-game. To be honest, he looked very, very sad. He looked like it was hitting really, really at home for him, because people were asking him hard-hitting questions. Hey, why haven't you been consistent? Why aren't you making these completions? Why haven't you thrown a passing touchdown yet? And they were asking him straight up, and he was looking at them with solemn eyes of just like, all I can do is get back out there next week and try and do my best. But I don't want these players to feel like they're being beat up upon. And I think this new era will help give them more confidence, that it's in their hands to take this program to the next level. So yeah, I think the fans are coming to terms with that we want to be more on their side. Doug Meacham had a really good statement yesterday saying, like, you need to be on the player side. You need to be rooting for these players, kind of speaking to the fan base there. So I'm on board with that.
All right, got a couple more for you, or just one more question for you, kind of like getting to know here Alyssa, the person. So how did you get so good at this? Like give me a little bit about your journey, for real. Because honestly, I was talking to another guy like in our industry, and we were talking about young people making progress, and you just you got to really want it, and you got to really fight for it, and you got to really bust your rear end, and it's clear that you have, because you've got a wellspring of information. What's your rhythm like for somebody like you to get in a situation like this where you're talking to me and clearly you're just getting started?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I really appreciate you saying that about me. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and say, "Can I do this?"
Yeah, you can.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah, you can.
But yeah, as far as my story, my dad sat me down at a really young age and sat me in front of a TV and turned on Cowboys football and said, "This is what we're going to do on Sundays." And then on Saturdays, it was watching college football. And I kind of became his best friend in that time. And then my best friend became football. At a very young age, and I was in middle school playing fantasy football when no other girls knew what I was talking about. And I feel like I've kind of been an odd duck in that since, just because of the way that it is with this industry. But I mean, as far as the drive, we just had some Bailey Burmaster, a sports director from Atlanta News, first talk to us last week here on campus, and she said it. You have to, just like you said, you have to have the fire. Like you have to be driven every day that this is what you want to do. And for me, it's not something that I have to tell myself like, okay, you need to have the drive. It's like, it feels like it's just inherently inside me burning that like, this is my goal. And I'm so passionate about sports, so passionate about learning, that I want to do this and just honor, the gifts that have been given to me. I mean, all glory to God that I'm able to, be able to talk about these things. And I'm just, keep one foot in the other and see where I'm going. So
keep it going. I would love to have you back sometimes, just talking about the Big 12 or college football, and of course, let's hope the Pokes stay out of trouble. Next time we're talking about them, it'll be something positive, right?
Yes. Hopefully, we're getting a new coaching announcement soon, someday.
Do you have any idea what that timeline will be like? It's a great question. Obviously, we're talking after the season. Have there been any rumors like that it could be somebody like not premature, but ahead of the curve, like anything on the timeline?
Yeah, right now, I mean, I don't want to say anything factual. It's really been all rumors, but I mean, I think they're looking. I've heard some things that they're trying to do it before the end of the season, or trying to at least decide before the end of the season. But yeah, right now, I don't think we have a good pulse on when that's actually going to happen. I know Zach Robinson has been in lots of rumors, and the worry with the timeline there is that the NFL season needs to wrap up, or is he going to be fired from Atlanta, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So there's so many moving parts. I think right now, just yet, I don't have a really good feel for when that's going to happen, but I hope it's soon.
All right. Well, you let us know what you hear. Alyssa Brandon, where can people find you, by the way?
Okay. My Instagram is Alyssa Brandon, Lyssa Brandon. Then I host a show with my friend Connor Fuchsa that's on YouTube, and it's called We Know Ball. It's actually more of an NFL geared show if y'all are interested in that, so y'all can find that on YouTube. And then if y'all want to find Ocali TV, which is our student news station here, we do a live 30-minute newscast every day at 5, and that's on our YouTube as well, and it's Ocali TV on YouTube. So yeah.
All right, we'll keep up the good work. We'll talk to you soon. Alyssa Brandon, thanks so much. Great insight.
Thank you so much. Hope to see you soon.
You got it. There she goes. That was a home run, man. Alyssa that's great reporting from inside the building there in Stillwater. And from one Poke to another. This one, he's got a duck when he comes through the door. And he's got money pouring out of his pockets. He's Dan Ingham, baby. We're taking it to the bank. We'll be right back after this. The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovacek's. Coming up, we're talking about First National Bank of Central Texas with Dan Ingham, and also about college football and a little NFL too. We'll be back.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at FullwellFertility.com.
Football is back, and Underdog is the best place to make picks and win money all season long. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns, receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as $1. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Sousa to score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Sousa. That's S-O-U-S-A. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks. Win money.
Must be 18 plus, 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, 21 plus in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play-and-get-terms_DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7-HOPE line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. That's 467-369.
That, by the way, that was not a Saturday Night Live skit. Like, how long can we have this voice run on at like 150 miles an hour? That's actually real life, Dan.
Yes, that's good stuff. We need one before this. Like, Dan is not a professional game picker. If you need a good professional game picker, please consult.
Well, we were talking about you early. Look, hey, man, everybody. Look, I went 1-4 on Sunday. I just don't put the picks up.
It's all good.
So Dan Ingham is back. First National Bank of Central Texas. First of all, you were busy running around last week.
That's right.
Right.
I was down at College Station doing some work with our new location down there. So.
So we can talk about the new location.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're going to open up first quarter of next year, and we're excited about it. Right on Highway 6, big old 20,000 square foot facility, 3 stories. We're really excited about it.
General curiosity, what moves like a First National Bank of Central Texas to open up another branch? Like what leads to that? Like, because clearly it's good news.
Opportunity. I mean, a place where there's growth, where there's opportunity for deposits, loans, dynamic market, and College Station is that. I mean, you've got a university the size of Texas A&M. There's a lot of people down there. It's growing. There's a lot of good jobs. Those are people who want to buy homes, do things. So it was a really good opportunity.
Yeah, and so you guys are going to open that first January? Is that right?
January, February, somewhere in there. Yeah.
Dude, that's first quarter. Yeah. Right? All right, Dan, let's get I need to get your reaction. We just had Alyssa Brandon, who you and I both agreed did a hell of a job.
Yeah, I was very proud of her. She did great.
Yeah, and so you say proud of her. Why? Because you graduated from the school that she's in now, correct?
Yeah, I think they call it, like, when I was in the School of Journalism and Broadcasting, but now it has a fancier name, like Strategic Media Strategies or something. I don't know, but it's a School of Journalism and Broadcasting to me. So it was much different. When she was talking about that 5 o'clock newscast, I did that as well. That's been going around. We did it on tape. We had to actually edit on tape. You've been around long enough. You know those two. Like, I'm sure have you edited on tape before, Pete?
I never edited on tape. I know about it.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm dating myself a little bit. Yeah. We're the same. You just got into TV later.
Exactly.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah. I have some really good memories in the Paul Miller building there at the OSU campus. So it's cool to see her do well. And there's a lot of kids that have come out of that program and done really well.
And we were talking before, like that has evolved into like a place to go for Oklahoma State.
It's pretty cool. It's a place that's known for sports broadcasting. They have a specific program for that. When I was there, we had some guys do okay. I mean, still get out. Jeff Haxton, the play-by-play voice of Texas Tech basketball.
Yeah.
Keith Kelly, the voice of Wyoming football, just to name a couple guys I graduated with, so I'm pretty proud of them. So, but yeah, now it is just they have kids from around the country that come there just for sports broadcasting. It's pretty cool.
I see. I can get behind that. I being from the Northeast, I resent the guys from Syracuse. I'm like, give me a break.
Well, and they'll be the first ones to tell you they went to Syracuse
Yeah.
too, or Missouri too. So we used to call them the Mizzou Mafia. The kids, and they're great schools, and they're like probably because I didn't get into Missouri.
Of course, dude. Of course,
Exactly.
I wasn't good enough to play football at Syracuse. The whole deal. But if they tell you, they'll tell you like this. I went to Syracuse, and my name is Ron Adams.
Yes.
It's like, okay,
we know.
So Oklahoma State, one of the biggest problems that I don't want to say problems, but one of the realities that was shared with me earlier this week with Dave Hunziker, the voice of the Cowboys, was that because I asked him flat out, I was like, I think I'm a little confused because being somebody not from, obviously not from like Oklahoma State or Stillwater, not even born in Big 12 territory, I got the impression that T. Boone Pickens had this flow of cash that just went right into the school, the athletic department,
right,
and there was never going to be a shortage or an issue. There has been in this new era, right? And as Hunziker said, you can help me out, but as Hunziker said, like this is a group of people that are like, you got to show me before we put money into it. Now, is that like, as an alum, does most of the money, because Oklahoma State's a good school, so you've got folks that are maybe putting more money back into academics than athletics. Like, how does that work there as you see it?
Well, they're not going to have the level of alone with money as OU. I mean, OU's got the medical school, the law school, a lot of oil money there as well. So it's just not on the same par as OU. But there's a lot of alums who have money. I don't know that it's necessarily been a money problem for them. I mean, do they have the money to be like a top 5 program?
Yeah.
But do they have the money and the resources to be a Big 12 champion? Yeah, they do. The reality is it's just been they've struck out a lot on the kind of players they've been trying to get the last 3 or 4 years, maybe 4 or 5. And someone made a point the other day because, yes, they played in the Big 12 championship game 2 years ago against Texas. But I think that was fool's gold a little bit. The reality is they kind of hit lightning in a bottle. The Big 12 was down other than Texas that year. And so they kind of got into there. They had some good play. They just kind of pounded it to Ollie Gordon every game.
Yeah.
But they have not been recruiting well for about 4 or 5 years. And Mike Gundy admitted for the first couple of years at NIL, they spread all that money around just on the guys they already had, which is great, but it doesn't go acquire talent. And they did that this year to the tune of 60 new players. And that's a coin flip. And so far it's looking like it didn't work. I mean, so the amount that they've spent, I've been told is comparable with other Big 12 teams except for Texas Tech. So they've got some money there. It's just been a talent acquisition problem. And you have 4 or 5 subpar years in a row of recruiting. It's not shocking that they're not winning a lot of games. It is shocking to see how bad they've gotten. But the reality is they haven't been recruiting well for several years.
So that's what you're telling me is kind of good news then. I mean, like the fact that for whoever were to inherit the situation, it's not something that's untenable.
Yeah, and I think you've got some alums who are going to open up their checkbooks now. They might have been unhappy with Mike Gundy and some of the things he said and done. So I think you'll see some of those folks. But again, that's not a guarantee. That's why, people get off topic a little bit. I hear people like, oh, of course, Texas Tech's good. They bought their players. Well, no, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I mean, and the reality is they're spending on par with some SEC teams who don't win every game. And so you still have to go coach them up and get the right chemistry, pick the right players that you're going to give that money to. So it's not as simple as just opening up the checkbook and saying, hey, let's win. Now, it sure helps to have that money, but there's more to it than that.
What do you make of what's going on now with Baylor? They're 2-2. I was of the school of thought that, man, this is going to be a tough stretch to open the season. And man, I'll tell you what, Dan, you're a little like me, and I'm not taking shots at anybody in this room or outside of this room, but like you could set your watch to it, right? End of September, Baylor's struggling, and it's week. Dave Aranda has to go. Yeah. Like you've been around covering this team for a very long time, dating back to when's the first year you covered Baylor football?
2003, Guy Morris.
2003. Okay, so now here we are, 22 years later. The Baylor fan base upset, and I get it. But what are your thoughts on how this team is playing and the reaction to the 2-2 after losing another big home game? Is that sort of like we're prisoners of the moment because we lost a huge home game? Where are you at?
I think like being disappointed with them being 2-2 is pretty reasonable. I mean, like they lost 2 games they could have won. Is the season over? No. there's two ways to look at it. They lost a couple games that came down to a play or two, but good teams win those games as well. I mean, that's what good teams do. So I would feel a whole lot better if they had won one of those games. But you look at the schedule, and they've got a lot of very winnable games left.
Yes.
So, and I don't want to be one of those just punting it down the road, but like talk to me in a month and a half or so. If they finish the years like 7-5, 6-6, then I think that's going to be a very disappointing season, and that's possible.
Yeah.
But would it shock you if they go on a run in their next 8 games and go 7-1?
No,
I mean, I think it's possible.
Yeah,
they still have a really good quarterback. The defense is not nearly as good as we thought they would be, or that we think a Dave Aranda type defense would be. But my gosh, they're 2-2 and lost 2 games by single digits. So they're definitely in the running to get something done here. It's just good teams have to win those games. I don't know that we're going to learn a lot this weekend. There's no such thing as a bad road win. I don't care who you're playing, but they should beat Oklahoma State by at least a score or 2. You know what I mean? That's a team they should beat. I mean, the line's like 20, which is massive. It's kind of eye-opening to look at. But they should win this game. But then it gets harder. And so they've got to try and piece together some W's and get some good vibes with the fan base. Because I've got a lot of Baylor friends who are pretty upset right now and disappointed.
Well, it's interesting. Like typically there hasn't been a place really to go hide in the Big 12. Certainly not 2 weeks in a row. But Baylor has that coming up. I mean, Oklahoma State and Kansas State, you couldn't dial up a better remedy. As far as like the fan base and folks that those big time circles you run in, the wine and cheese crowd, the elites.
Come on,
what do they talk about like a coaching change? Like is that starting to bubble up like from people you hang out with who are part of who move the needle, right? I mean, I'm kind of breaking your stones, but you do know a lot of people in this area who maybe give money to Baylor, maybe they don't. But like, what are you getting? Like, let's do a little vibe check, as the kids say.
I mean, anyone who, man, I don't want to. I know some people who might give some money, but not the kind of people who can make those decisions.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, it's Mac Rhodes who's making those decisions.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's people who are like, man, I've heard people, we should have gotten rid of them a year and a half ago and we had a chance or whatever. But there's no guarantee you go out and get a coach who's going to do better. I mean, I think Dave Aranda, because of his personality, is always going to be polarizing. And so unless he wins every single game, there's going to be people that are like, oh, we got to make a change, because he's unique in coaches. He's just different. He'd be the first to tell you that.
Yes.
He doesn't have the gregarious personality necessarily. He's very thoughtful and mindful, which is a real strength of his, clearly. But he doesn't also, sometimes that can be misconstrued as, maybe he's not the right guy for this job. But the reality is this guy has won a Big 12 championship here. He's won a lot of games here, but he hasn't won as many games as people would like to see. And that's just the reality. And so is he coaching for his job? I don't know. But if you're not winning a championship every single year or winning 9-10 games every year with as much money as Baylor is paying him, then, you got to probably act like that.
You know what's funny? I'm sitting here and we're having this conversation, and it's great because I'm like, Dave Aranda reminds me of, and I've never been this guy, but like you hear like someone who's in a relationship and their husband never talks about his emotions, and that can really frustrate like their partner, right? Like he never tells me what he's thinking, or he never tells me what's going on, like what's really going on, and like that's like as fans, that's kind of where we are with Dave. We're like, come on, dude, give us something, like, but that's not who he is.
No.
And the person you fell in love with is this guy. So you got to ride or die, man, and you got to make the best of the situation, and you got to believe in him, because I do believe. I'm telling you, I think the guy's a good coach, and I think that they can turn it around again. But he's never going to give you that fire and brimstone.
Sure.
So to what you're saying, if he's not racking up the wins, it's like, what are we doing here? Because like there was scuttlebutt right when the UCLA job came open, like that he would go there, and I was like, that's the last place I would send someone like Dave. He's just not. Yeah, he's from Southern California, but he doesn't have that LA charisma, right, to drum up a ton of money there. It's just not who he is. It's not who he's looking to be.
Yeah. And that's a program where they need someone to get them a lot of money right now.
Yeah. All right, let's go NFL real quick. I got to get your take on the Cowboys before we get your pick. This is a huge game on Sunday night. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think Green Bay coming off a loss. I don't know really what I think of it. I know that there'll be obviously a ton of Micah stuff leading up to the game, but ultimately it's going to come down to the action on the field, right? It's a home game for the Cowboys. What's your excitement level heading into a matchup like this?
I'm always excited for a game. I mean, for a season that's not lost yet. I mean, like I get fired up for every game, and yeah, I am kind of curious to see how Micah Parsons plays in that game. Do you see that he still has his suite like in the stadium?
Yes, yes.
Because he paid to put his deposit down before the trade. So I think that's really funny. But no, I mean, yeah, I'm excited. I mean, are they likely going to win? No, but it's the NFL. And would it shock me if it goes down to the very last play? It's two teams who did not play well last week.
Yes.
Would it surprise me if they both play well? No, not at all.
What do you think about what's the fan sentiment going to be towards Micah? Like, will there be sort of, I guess a mixed reaction is maybe what I'm thinking.
I suspect there's a lot of people that totally blame Jerry Jones on this one.
Yeah.
And so their anger is geared towards him. But I bet there's some that are like, hey, you got a heck of an offer. You turned it down. This is all your issue. There'll be some boos for him just because it's kind of fun to boo the guy that's on the other team,
Yeah.
But I think it'll be a mixed reaction. I mean, I don't think Micah Parsons was the level of popularity in Dallas, and I could be totally wrong that it's going to be like, you're going to see 1,000 Micah Parsons jerseys, Cowboy jerseys in the stadium. Could be totally wrong though.
No, it's not. It's not a Luka
that kind of guy.
It's not a Luka playing,
No,
against the Mavs. It's just not even anywhere near that. And I think to what you're saying, and I think that also is, the monster that the Cowboys are. And that kind of Jerry, although some of the stuff he does football-wise is foolish, I think all of this Micah Parsons stuff will get swallowed up by NBC Sunday Night Football and the Dallas Cowboys and the Packers. I believe that. I mean, I think it'll be a slice of it, but ultimately, win or lose, I don't think we'll be talking about Micah all night long. All right, First National Bank of Central Texas, right? They do great stuff. You are an extension of First National Bank of Central Texas, but we'll cut them off right there.
Thank you.
Because we've been struggling with our picks. Okay.
I think I'm 0 for, is that right?
0 for 3. Yeah. My favorite part is how Dan bailed on us last week because good reason. He had work to do, but he thought we didn't put his pick up, but yes, we did. So yeah, Scotty and those beautiful.
And that's totally fair. Totally fair.
All right. So what are we thinking this week? Because I've been riding with you every week. I mean, just because I love the action and I love you.
You've already put that money down on the engagement ring and everything.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah, we're good. No payment plan there.
Fair enough.
I followed my father's advice.
All right. So this week, take me home, West Virginia. We're going to those mountain homes. The West Virginia Mountaineers. They've been this kind of team this year. Good week, bad week. Lose to Ohio, beat Pitt. They're back home this week. They're getting 12.5 points at home. That is a ton of points at home. Not, Oklahoma State, 20.5 points at home, but 12.5 against a Utah team that maybe isn't as good as we thought. They got blown out by Texas Tech, who's really good, by the way.
Yeah.
So I like West Virginia getting 12.5 points at home. Take it to the bank. First victory, I'm hoping this week.
Dan, I've loved all your picks, and I'm not just saying that.
I felt good about all of them, man.
Me too. This one is a great one because, in my opinion, and having done work, kind of prepping for this show and other Big 12 stuff. Rich Rodriguez said, dude, we were everywhere we needed to be last week. We just didn't, we're not delivering that blow physically. Like we need to be more physical and we've shown we can do that. And I think you are right. Look, we get so swept away by Utah and okay, we got 2 first-round picks on the offensive line. Devin Dampier looks so sharp against bad teams.
Yeah.
Right. And then
100%.
Okay. They did get blown out at home by a Texas Tech team. We're all prisoners of the moment. Let's ride it. I'm literally the captain of the ship. Texas Tech is awesome, but we're coming to week 5, dude.
Yeah.
So we don't know. Our boy Tim Brando always says this, and because he's done it forever. So he knows just through history, there's going to be crazy stuff that happens every college football season, crazy upsets, stuff we didn't expect. And the Utah situation could be one of those, right? Are they for real?
Yeah. And if they go and win by a couple touchdowns on the road, then kudos to them. I'll tip my cap.
We'll be tipping our cap to you next week if this is a W. And either way we will. How about that?
I need a win, man.
Everybody does. First National Bank of Central Texas. There is any high school football tonight?
No, we get back at it in a couple weeks. In fact, I'm not going to be able to do it next Thursday night, but they'll be back at it in a couple weeks. Yeah.
All right, there he is, Dan Ingham, First National Bank of Central Texas. Thanks, brother.
Thanks, Pete.
All right, we'll step aside. Actually, we'll step aside, come back, and wrap it up. The Pete Sousa Show, presented by Slovakics.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, for true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's kitbag.com. Kitbag.
It's the Restore Clarity Focus Patch, my little secret weapon for staying sharp, focused, and on task. Each box comes with simple instructions inside, so you always know exactly how to apply it. Each patch lasts for 3 days. I love that I can wear it all day.
Samsonite is the world leader in durable, high-quality luggage and travel accessories. Travel with Samsonite and pack confidence every step of the way. Shop now at shop.samsonite.com. Samsonite. At Toussaint's, we understand that maintaining a healthy lifestyle can be challenging, especially in today's fast-paced world. That's why our mission is to make fitness accessible to everyone, anywhere. Visit Toussaint's.com today and start your journey to better health. That's TOUSAINS.com.
A house is a property, but we live in homes. Home sweet home. Homes where the heart is. We aim to deliver the best home buying and selling experience so you can spend less time real estating and more time living.
Unlock a world of convenience with Mullybox, your one-stop solution for personalized subscription boxes delivered right to your door. Each box is tailored to your tastes. Mullybox.com. That's MULLYBOX.com.
Better sleep, inspired by nature. Your back, hips, and shoulders will fall into perfect alignment in any position, meaning that you get deeper, more comfortable rest. Visit ecoterrabeds.com.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
Everybody at Ecolife really has a passion and a real interest in helping people feel well. How much further can we go to get you feeling even better? It is a complete partnership between the two of us.
So all you have to do is tap your Popple to the back of someone's phone like that, and they instantly get your social media and contact info right on their screen. They don't need an app or a Popple to receive your info. So get your Popple today and start impressing everyone you meet. Make it pop.
It's hard to find supplements that work. No, thank you. Plant-based supplements made from the Earth's most powerful plants for your immune health, gut health, workouts, and more. Find out more at auraorganic.com.
Stability.
At the Pete Sousa Show, I got one last little comment I'm going to make. And Scotty, we don't need any bottom or top, upper third, lower third, whatever. So we got to have Nick picked on to talk about baseball, Major League Baseball.
Picked.
Yeah, Scotty loves Nick, and we're going to set something up before the playoffs because it's that time of year. But I, speaking of playoffs and postseason, like, look, I'm not, and I told you so, guy. I'm not, but I see the promos on ESPN, a company I work for and love, about the WNBA semifinals and the WNBA playoffs, and it's almost as though it's a forgotten sport right now. And you look at in the middle of the summer, it was as hot as it could ever get, and there's a natural curiosity around me, like, will they ever be able to find that rhythm? I talked to you guys this summer. I was lucky enough to go to the NBA offices and sit there and talk with people in their marketing team and in their PR team. And they were just over the moon about how well the WNBA was doing. And here's my concern about the WNBA quickly, and then we'll get out of here. Because it's been on my mind because I keep seeing the promos, and I root for women's basketball because I worked in women's basketball. I call women's basketball games. I think it's an amazing sport, but the popularity has certainly cooled off, and now they could be headed for a labor stoppage, right? Over the course of the summer, they have to renegotiate and figure all that out. And we all know in any pro sport that can be a disaster. And I think like that's just a very interesting situation to keep an eye on, because if there is a loss or a miscalculation as to what their worth really is for the players in the WNBA, they could really kind of mess up what was a magical deal last summer. Because I think if you take a good deal, you don't have a labor stoppage, right? Caitlin Clark comes back and is healthy, and we start to acknowledge that this is the reason that the league is what it is. I'm sorry. I understand all those other women are like, they're playing professional basketball. They're amazing at what they do. And some of them are super colorful and super likable. But like at the end of the day, like Caitlin Clark was the ultimate reason that the sport witnessed the ascent that it did over the course of the summer. And her absence, and also, of course, right, the onslaught of college football, pro football. Now we've got Major League Baseball coming up with the playoffs. Like there's all of a sudden hockey will be back in basketball. Like I get it, but it shouldn't be. If the league is what it is, what folks were telling us without Caitlin Clark, it shouldn't be this much of an afterthought right now as we ramp up for the finals. I think we're in the semifinals. I don't know. That's the point. So that's like a concern of mine, because I really, and this isn't like a backhanded deal. I legit like root for women's basketball, and I miss, I talked about it this summer. I would find a way to watch Indiana Fever games. I'm not finding a way. I'm not looking for anything as far as that sport is concerned right now. And it's a legitimate, like, it's just an interest thing. I have lost the interest. And I think I could easily get it back. Right. And I also think too, the league would be best suited to find a way to make it just a summer league. And if they can find a way to do that and almost wrap up right about the time NFL preseason is starting, or maybe before week 1 of the NFL season or the college football season, they might really be put in a primetime position. I know that is not easier said than done, or I know it is easier said than done, but these are just thoughts of mine because I love the sport. And I was thinking this morning as I was getting ready to come over here and I'm preparing, and I got ESPN on, and there's a commercial for the playoffs. I'm like, damn, dude, like I totally had forgotten about that. As opposed to 2 months ago, where it was like top of mind for everybody every morning. Interesting, right? All right, the Pete Sousa Show. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll get you primed for college football. We're talking to a Green Bay Packers insider as they get ready to play the Cowboys. And we are so excited for a big weekend of college football. So the Pete Sousa Show presented by Salvatrix. We'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Scotty. Thanks, Chris Visser. We'll see you.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference, because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Show. Sports.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Show. Sports.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care.
We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.